be amongst such lovely captains of industries from various in verticals of life. I think one thing I can say is it's absolutely amazing to have this spectrum of women out here, everything from health to alcohol. I think the only thing that is pretty much the common denominator is financial services and the chartered accountant. So lovely to have you ladies out here, Resham, Nawaz, Milan, Suzanne. It's beautiful having you guys here, and I've got just gonna give a little intro regarding all of you guys. So giving an intro regarding India and what India has as far as the ratio between men and women leading such verticals. So India has witnessed an inspiring surge of women stepping into leadership roles across diverse sectors. Currently, women make up about 14% of the total entrepreneurs in the country. According to the 6th Economic Census, from startups to multinational corporations, women are breaking barriers and redefining success in business. Despite the challenges of a traditionally male-dominated environment, women-led businesses contribute significantly to India's economy, with an estimated 20% of all MSMEs belong and are owned by women. However, only 7.4 of senior management positions are held by women in India, highlighting these gaps. The panel discussion brings together power women who have carved their own paths, and today we celebrate their achievements, learn from their journeys, and explore the future of women business in India. I think we have a 99.9% woman audience out here. We're all looking forward to it. So, ladies, I'm going to ask a generic question to all four of you all. So I'm going to start with you, Resham. And yeah, it's always meant to be you. You know, all the people from the north, they're attacked first. Okay. So, Resham, I think, what can we say? Can you briefly share your journey into the business world? What sparked your interest in the field that you've chosen?
So I joined ABD, which is a company started by my dad 35 years ago, and I joined it 6 years back. I've always belonged to a family of entrepreneurs, and seeing their dedication and perseverance towards work, I was naturally navigated to joining the business. And the dynamic nature of the alcohol industry kind of intrigued me and compelled me to join my business to make probably a mark of myself and prove to my dad that women can work too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we are all in recession-proof businesses out here, huh? From alcohol to health and onwards. But yeah, so Nawaz, would you like to take that question as well?
Sure.
Do you remember it?
I remember it.
Right.
Good evening. Mental health as well. Okay, so I actually started out with a variety of options open to me. And I was struggling between whether I should get into law. Everyone in my family was a lawyer. My father, my brothers come from a lot of legal heritage, even otherwise. I did do law. I am a graduate. I never intended to practice, and I never did. I just did it to keep my father happy. I couldn't break his heart. It did help me in a variety of ways in my life going forward entirely, though I have to say. I also wanted to be a journalist, a writer, which I wasn't, but in a way I am. I wanted to get into therapy, psychotherapy, the mind space, etc., which I didn't, but in many ways my life continued to touch that. And finally, fitness, which I did get into. I am delighted I did. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wanted to do something which was new, not available, help people in ways which was not possible at that point in time, have deliverables which were not available at all, so I pioneered many a first in the fitness genre. And at that point in time, there was just a Pillarkers around. There was nothing else heard at all, no other offerings. No matter what your illness or ailment or requirement or goal was, It was just one pill for every disease. The gym, that's it. There was nothing else to choose from. So come a long way from there and been delighted to. Thank you.
Fantastic. So it really goes to say that your body is your temple and your mind follows. Fantastic. Thank you. Bill, it's so nice to have you on this panel.
Thank
Do you
you.
want me to repeat the question, or would you? I
I
think
get that.
you crunch enough numbers to have a great long-term memory.
Sure.
Okay.
First of all, it's great to be here. I'm truly honored and humbled. I started my journey as an engineering graduate, and without knowing what technology consulting is, I joined Deloitte way back. It's almost 22 years with Deloitte. 2001, 2002 is when I joined Deloitte as an analyst. And I grew up in the ranks within Deloitte, made managing director and took up several leadership roles within the firm. And the entire journey, definitely, though it was full of learning, it was full of challenges. And I truly believe that when one has to rise above, one has to learn a lot. And in terms of technology, I navigated different technologies. I navigated different career paths. Those of you who understand consulting, went from one of the rarest paths in the firm to become the first competency director across. Not just women director, but across, because nobody had charted that path before. And it took a lot, and the only thing that kept me going was one of my mentors told me that either you be the 100th in a queue, or you be the first one and go on that path. The risk is yours, the success is yours. And I took a back, and then I decided that I'd go ahead on that path, and that's how I think my journey kept going.
Wow. Suzanne, needless
You
to
don't
say.
have to repeat your question.
No, it's just that you have.
Yeah, so I'm part of the fourth generation of a business family. So I grew up around conversations about business and strategy, and so I think that my interest might have peaked there, but I don't think I gave it much thought when I picked up business and finance in college. It was just a family business conveyor belt that I was just part of, and just, very happy going along with it. But after my undergraduate degree, I came back and joined the family business as a trainee. And that's when things started to get a bit more interesting. So we have a very formal induction process in the business where our generation comes in as a management trainee and spends about 2 years deep diving into the various group companies and visiting branches and understanding the business from ground up. So that gave me a lot of insights into different functions, and I think once I dove deeper into the business, I realized my passion lies in strategy, where you can get more of a macro view and kind of shape the long-term vision of the company. And I think I was fortunate enough to be a fourth generation member, where I get to understand both the legacy and the foundation that the business was built on, and understand what the future will look like as well.
To my second question, Resham, we'll kickstart and put a pedal to the metal, and I think something that a lot of people would really like to know is, what are some of the unique challenges you've faced as a woman in business, and how did you overcome them?
I think the challenges that I faced would be, the alcohol industry is a very male-dominated industry. And being a woman, when I joined, I probably would have joined much earlier. But even 6 or 7 years back when I joined, there were not many women that were in this field in the alcohol industry. So this is completely male-dominated, where you constantly have to, you're under the pressure to prove your credibility and your mettle. And the only way that you can overcome it is through being persistent, keeping a tab on the industry, being in constant touch with what the market is doing. Because I feel knowledge is power, And when you are in that place where you can have knowledge and power, then you're confident of the decisions you take, and your decisions are more strategic and informative then. So I think that's the only way I overcame. There's another challenge which I feel we all face, all women at some point of time, is very typically women are meant to look after the home. Even though they run multinational companies and they head every industry, but somehow running a home is on a woman's shoulder. So I did feel the pinch initially because when I joined work, my son was 11, so he still needed my time. But I think I did not fall under the pressure of, the societal pressures. I had a very supportive family back home, looking after my son, or looking after a few typical household chores that I was supposed to do, and being strategic with my time. I think once you have that dedication, then you can find time for everything.
Oh, fantastic. So it's still like finding time and drinking any man underneath the table, no matter what, right? I think that's the way you put them in their place. So Nawaz, same, I think, do you remember?
Yes, so I am actually probably going to be the anomaly out here because I don't feel I had any challenge as a woman. I actually don't. I just felt very equal. And no, that wasn't a mind thing, it was an actual thing because I started out with teaching a lot of group classes, a lot of different genres in terms of group classes, and started the first Pilates studio in the country, and then moved on with that, and pioneered many of us, Stereotypes and aerial arts, and hammock training, 360-degree training, and aqua aerobics, and so many other things which were not male-dominated. The only thing that was male-dominated really was gymming, but then female female rules that space as well. So I did not have that challenge, as I was my own boss, again, not subject to other people and their whims and fancies either. So yeah.
How did you bring that to your work culture? And was it something that was bred into you, or was it something that you learned along the way?
For the longest, for very many years, we hired only women. Even as gym trainers, we hired only women. And our audience, our clientele were mainly women. There'd be the odd guy there, once in a way, who took objection when a second odd guy came in. So it was a very different situation here.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that, Nawaz. Milan, over to you. This is going to be interesting as well.
I hope this is on. Yes. So when I grew up within technology consulting and in terms of my roles, I didn't have many role models to look up to at that time. And hence when I was growing up, there used to be stereotyping, like success is associated with XYZ traits. And I was different. I had some of those traits, but not all. And I still decided that I will go ahead with it. Many times I did heads-on discussions as well with people that why do you think it is like this, it should be like this, and I will prove it that it is like this. And it was interesting. I must tell you, it was very difficult also at times, and I used to think myself whether I should continue or not, or whether I should chart for myself a different path. But I took that on and I faced it and moved ahead. Over a period of years, this kind of career also requires a lot of traveling, right? And this is the time when you are growing up through the ranks, your family is growing, your kids need your time. So that phase was extremely difficult to manage both. But on that front, again, I have a very supportive family and they encouraged me to stay on it. I do feel that if we as women support each other, like in my case, my mom and sister and my husband are a big, big support to me, I feel that we all can go ahead.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Suzanne?
Yeah, so my experience, I think, Resham said it very perfectly. Finance again is a very male-dominated field, and recently I really felt, being a woman in finance, the culture is very different as you go up the corporate ladder. So, you see fewer women in the room, and I think that culture also changes a lot. So, recently, I think I felt that disparity a lot more after becoming a mother. I suddenly had to balance 6-month-old twins, along with just jumping right back into long hours and high pressure work. And I think it took a little bit of time to learn how to balance that. And there are great examples here of people doing it, so it's really inspiring for me. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I've had to face. The second thing is, and I've been a little bit more vocal about it recently, I think as a woman, I've struggled with imposter syndrome a lot, and I've been talking about it a lot more with people because I've realized that's very, very common amongst women. And to get that conversation going is so important, because unless you realize that, you can't start working on it. And I've been on a journey to overcome it by taking very conscious efforts to realize my achievements and tracking it and surrounding myself with people who are very supportive. And all of this, especially this last 1 year with the kids, it's been a lot of back and forth of, maybe I can't have it all. But over time, I think I've realized that I can have it all. It's just that I can't give in to the pressure of being everything to everyone, and I shouldn't let it hold me back. I just have to set my own rules and go forward.
It's very interesting you said that, because there's a very interesting saying which says, I don't know the way to success, but the sure way to failure is to please everybody. So very interesting you said that. I congratulate you on that, and I wish you all the best. So Resham, we're entering phase 3. You ready for that? Yeah. All right. So this is something I think a lot of youngsters, especially wanting to do their own startups, would love to ask you lovely women on this panel, because we'll have real world experience. So it would be, what advice would you give to a woman who are looking to start their own businesses, or to take their existing businesses to the next level in today's day and time?
I very honestly believe that in life, you either win or learn. You never lose. And I think that's very, very important for everyone to realize, man, woman, child. The other thing I think is it's never too late. I finished my graduation from Mumbai and immediately got married, because my dad that time was very apprehensive of sending a girl all alone to university. And my mom that time was much more open-minded than my dad, and she always said, send them. He says, no, what are they going to do? It's an alcohol industry, they're never going to join my business, and things like that. So I feel it's never too late, because I actually went to Harvard when I was 40. I actually completed a management development program from Wharton in my 40s. I actually did finance courses. The only thing I knew about finance is how to use my credit card. But now I know how the money goes into that credit card. So it's never too late. You only learn, you only win. You have to embrace failure. You can't let it down. Those are your stepping blocks. Criticism is going to come your way, irrespective. Don't let it bog you down. Confidence, perseverance, and change. You got to change, you got to evolve. Because I feel change and evolvement are the only two constants. If you don't change your mindset, you don't move with the times, everyone else is going to move ahead. You're going to go and stay where you are. Nobody's staying back for you. So my advice is go there, take the risk, indulge in what your heart says, learn, explore, and enjoy what you're doing is what I would say.
And in other words, no risk, no reward. You must take that.
Sure, there is no risk, there is no reward. And with reward comes a lot of responsibility. So.
Thank you.
It is maybe because I come from an era which was such, but I always felt that I needed to be more and more educated. And that continued, it continues to now. So I'm always jumping in and, including to Harvard, jumping in and getting in some IDD course here or there, or a week here, 2 weeks there, etc. The minute you stop educating yourself, you stop learning, you're pretty much dead, right? We are all learning till the day we die. And that's the way it should be. These young kids walk around these days saying, you open your mouth and they say, I know, I know, I know. And some of them are then nicknamed Miss I Know. And that's never a good thing, because that's you putting your ego right out there when you don't know. So that's one thing. The other thing is that whatever line, whatever field you're in, learning has become so easy these days. You don't have to get up and go anywhere. You've got a smartphone. There are ample ways out there you can learn. There's so much to learn. You can do whole courses online. You don't have to be known to be doing these things, get out of your comfort zone, feel you're too old, and none of these barriers. So what is it that's keeping you? Because the minute you stop changing and adapting and going with the flow and going with what is today, you're done for. The legal line from which my family heralds, for example, was all about your law journals, your papers, your etc. They're all paperless now. Very often you get into court and there is not a piece of paper, there's not a journal, there are no piles of books anymore. It's all on your smartphone. Imagine, so if you don't flow that way, where would you be? It's no-brainer.
I completely agree with you. We had God and they have Google, right? And now it's going to be ChatGPT, so you just don't know. You've got to really, the fundamentals have to be correct. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Nawaz. Milan, over to you.
First, I must say that my first point is very similar to what both of them said. First is, never say no to a learning. We all have to continuously evolve ourselves, and the field where we are in, the technologies, the clients, the kind of work they are looking for, and the services firm which we kind of lead have to provide those. You have to continuously keep evolving and learning new technologies. And one thing I learned earlier as part of my career was, keep learning. Never say no to any opportunity that comes your way, specifically for learning. So that's one big advice I would say, that one should take it up. The second one is, never be afraid to take any risk, even if it is slightly different route or a very different route. Even if you are doing something which is contradictory to what has been done before, if your heart says that you should try it, you should try it. Never shy away from taking the challenge on and saying whether I will be successful, not successful. Success will automatically come. So follow your passion. Don't say no to challenges. Take risks. Then only we all will rise up.
I would just like to add one thing to that, considering you're from the financial world. What's the one thing that makes you a boss lady amongst all the men in your vertical? Because I'm sure it must be difficult taking orders.
Yes, I must tell you that one thing that truly differentiates me is my ability to take people along and my own leadership styles. It's different. It's different from others. But still my team would always vouch for me, because they know how I support them, they know how I passionately do my work. So that kind of makes it easy.
Super. Thank you so much for that, Nanda. Thank you. Suzanne, over to you.
I think the three of them have beautifully covered a lot
Do you
of...
feel that it's unfair that you're last? Should I start the next question?
No,
with
it's
you?
okay. No, it's okay.
I think we should do that.
I like the time that I get to formulate my thoughts, so it's okay. But if I had to add anything to what's already been said, I would say always believe in your potential and trust that your vision and your ideas have value. That's the first thing. Second, always seek out help. Seek out a good mentor, a good support system, because when you're in doubt or when you hit a roadblock, there is nothing like the help of a mentor or a support system. I think it is so important, and I've experienced that personally. So highly recommend it. The third thing is, whatever it is that you're starting or taking to the next level, it is so important to know and keep in mind that change doesn't happen overnight. It happens in small incremental improvements, and for that you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, you have to be persistent. So that's very important to keep in mind, and whenever something takes time, it shouldn't be disheartening. And the last thing is, don't let self-doubt hold you back. Sometimes I feel like we are our own biggest obstacle, and I think it's very important that we realize that and make sure that we don't hold ourselves back.
Superb. So it's all when you're out in the open, put your game face on, right? That's what it is. Excellent. So guys, I think we are sort of done for the segment, and I would like to thank you once again for enlightening all of us with such lovely ideas and such a great perspective over what the new generation should do and what the business is by and large right now. Thank you so much, ladies, for being on this dais. It was a real pleasure and honor to be here with you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think you should. There's a twist to this panel. Can I just add some interesting twist?
The men are in this subject. What they will say off the record, not on the record.
Quite honestly, I'm not going to dwell too much in what interests us. I'll tell you I do, because I have a lot of women in my family, and I have great regard and respect for how they think and how they function, because it directly affects how I function. And for me to function well as a person, I need to know that they are functioning well as a person, and it's a symbiotic relationship. So ladies, I don't want to make it too thing, but yeah, any question, anybody wants to ask a question you have, everybody from health to alcohol and finance and gold. Sir, please, may I?
You have a very interesting family and a very interesting perspective, and I wish more people have that.
It takes one to know one of us.
Yeah, may I ask each one of the ladies on the panel, what is the one turning point in your lives which has brought you to this particular dais or this particular stage in your life? Would you like to spell that out for us?
Who are you asking? Everyone.
Each one of you. The one turning point which brought you to this fame. My turn?
Just a second, yes.
Yes, sorry. So I'd like to share this incident, and I quoted it briefly as part of my intro. We had a very different career path that was going to start in India. And it was never done before. It was launched in a very smaller sector in the US. And hence, that time our managing director was looking for somebody who would spearhead that career path, right? Somebody who would walk on that path for herself, for himself, and also develop others on that path. He called me and said, I think you are the right one. Would you like to do it? And I was at a juncture where I was going to be promoted that year on the traditional path. So I was wondering whether, if I take that new path, first of all, whether I will succeed. And if I don't succeed, 10 others would follow on that path who will also not succeed. And I said, I would like to take time, go back and think over whether I should take this up. And next day, when I entered his office, this thing came from him, which I quoted, that either you'll be the first one on the path and you will have all the success, or you'll be the 100th in a queue and wait for your turn to come and you decide. And I decided at that time to go on that path, you know. And then what he did was he gave me one name. He said, this is the lady who is in the US who is driving this. Now you find out everything. So basically there was nothing, you know. There was someone who would have just thought about that path and nothing existed. So I started from that particular time to defining what the path is, what are roles and responsibility, how I grow and how others who should follow on that path should grow, right? Taking technology as the major. I think that was my turning point within Deloitte. So a lot of people then got to know me as the one who started that career path, and today a lot of competency directors are there, and I was the first one that that made it that time. So it was a turning point in my career, and his advice still stays with me.
So, every astrologer, whenever he discovers a new star, gets to name the star. Can you name, what kind of exercise this would be since you've developed it? You can give it any name, we'll accept it.
I think I'll pass.
You'll pass. All right, guys, over to you.
I'll go next. My turning point was actually my son. He won't even remember this. He was 10 and he used to say, Mom, Dad goes to office. He calls my dad Dad because there is no boy in the entire family. He was the first boy that was born after 40 years. So he calls my dad Dad. So he says, Dad, you go to the office. Papa goes to the office. What does Mama do? And at 10, so I looked at him and I said, I look after you. I look after the home. He said, no, but Dad is chairman and who's going to be the next chairman? And he looked at me and I thought probably that was a sign that he says, get up, go, you, because if not you, then I'm next. So I think he was hinting that if you go, then maybe I have some chance. So I think that was a turning point where, children don't intend to tell you that, but there's a message sometimes in what they're saying. So I think that was a turning point, and it probably gave me even more support to go to work.
Oh, that's good. Suzanne, we let you go first because
Mine's quite a boring story. I think I was just always on this path. Growing up again, I just always figured I would come back into the business. So I just followed the same, studied business in college. And the only time where I had to make a decision was right after college. I had gotten a job in the US to manage a fund, but I made a decision to come back to India because there was a lot of organizational change happening, and it was a very crucial time in the business. So I was very glad I came back, and I think because there was so much change happening, things were very exciting, and it really helped me stay on, and I think that's when I made the decision that I will stay on with the family business.
No, it's one thing saying that I stay on with the family. It's another thing owning the responsibility of it. So, I think that plays a big part in inheriting something, because you don't want to fail in front of the generations that have surpassed it, done so well. So that responsibility was a quantum leap. What was that moment? What made you feel that, you can trust me, guys, I'm going to take this forward?
I don't know if I've hit that moment yet.
That's honest.
Because it is a huge responsibility, right? And when you're the fourth generation and you hear people talk about family businesses, and they talk about, the first generation starts the business, the second generation grows the business, and then the third generation is where the business falls apart. And
well, Suzanne, by default, you have proven yourself to be a master, because no master actually says, I am a master. They always say, I'm a student. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. so much. Thank you. Thank you.